Yes, yes. Yes. What's up, good people? MC Till here on the Boom Bap Chat. Welcome. We are at episode 112. I'm going to introduce my friend on the screen. But first, make sure if you are in Cincinnati, I think you know the drill by now. You have to go support our friends at Everybody's Records. If you're into records, vinyl, tapes, CDs, books, miscellaneous weird music things, you need to go check them out. They've been a staple of Cincinnati in the music scene and the hip hop scene for a long time. So Everybody's Records. And if you can't get here in person, check them out online. Send them a shout out, everybody'srecords.com. And shout out to my man Iomas. He is hard at work in his schooling, trying to, get his school on and finish that up. So he's hard at work tonight. He might stop by later. We'll see. And my man Profound, I think he's got maybe one more week. He is one of the football coaches for his son's football team. So he's out there doing his thing, trying to be Dad of the Year. So shout out to Profound. He'll be back soon. So stay tuned for that. All right, tonight we chat with a dope MC and a dope person. He is a phenomenal lyricist. He can weave together emotion and knowledge like a pro. His most recent work, The North Star, Love of the Art with producer Freemind, is an excellent example of this kind of artistry. And when he's not making music, I love this. He is empowering young people in Cincinnati. He is who I want to be when I grow up. So please join me as we welcome to the Boom Bap Chat, Brandon Isaac.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother, man. Just exhausted, man. Just emptying myself with these kids, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Were you with the kids today?
Yeah, I was at Aiken High School today from probably from 8 a.m. to about 2. I'm supposed to be there at 12, but the room that I'm in it's became like such a safe space for them. So now they want to come down there and eat lunch. You
Yeah,
know what I
man.
mean? And so it's
Yeah.
like I appreciate it, but it's just like it's a lot, you
Yeah,
know.
man.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you're working with other people, you can definitely pour out a lot of yourself, and
yeah,
before you know it, it's like, man, why am I so tired? You know what I mean? I didn't do anything, but it
man.
drains you.
Yeah, it does, man. It
Yeah,
does.
definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I want to get into that, and that's a good place to start off with because I love, and I know Iomas and Profound, the co-host of this show, same. When we love artists that are also doing like things in education, empowering young people, working with young people, we love that. So we'd love to
Mhm.
just know more about this program, what you're doing, and yeah, anything you want to share about that. And I think our audience is interested in that as well.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, man. Started off working at daycares, after school programs. And then I became a teacher's assistant, and then I thought I wanted to be like a teacher, but then I was like, and
Mm,
after just being a teacher's assistant, I was kind of like, that's not really my thing. And then I seen a teaching artist in the room, Amy Tuttle. Shout out to her. And
yeah.
seeing her, and I was like, "Yo, how do I do what you're doing? Like you're teaching your art, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to kids. How do I do that? And I have no uh, degree in art. Like how do I do that?" And she's like, "Oh, like let's talk." And we had a coffee, and it just been on ever since. And now I work with a nonprofit called Wordplay Cincy, and pretty much it's a story based nonprofit where we just try to nurture those voices in young people and try to get them to I'm not really try to get them but collaborate with them in safe spaces to tell their story and try to encourage them, like, yeah, your stories matter, and like your stories are like the stories of the future, and we need your voices. Like you are the voices of our community. So we just want to nurture those voices. So like, when it comes to, whatever's going on in our community in the future, we have like young future people who are confident in what they
Mm.
say. And we're just trying to help them like find that voice through just different mediums of art, you know? So,
Yeah, that's really dope. And what I really enjoyed, for those listening in, I had opportunity to go down to Workplace Cincy that you just mentioned
mhm.
with a group of sixth graders, and my daughter was one of them, and she might be watching tonight actually. So shout out to my daughter. What's up,
Shout
Zoe?
out to your daughter.
Yeah, man. but we came down, and what I really enjoyed was like the time you spent with these students. It was, there's a time for like a person with the knowledge giving you knowledge, and like you sit there and you soak it up and you take notes. There's a time for that.
Hmm.
But what you did, I thought was really, really incredible, because you like co-created the space with the kids. So like
Yeah,
it wasn't just you, and in art, that's what you kind of need to do, because like
yeah,
you can't really teach art. You kind of have to do. I mean, there are some technical things, but like you kind
yeah,
of have to do. You have to experience it in some
yeah,
ways, and like you set up that room beautifully, and like allowing the kids to be like part, like co-creators of that space. And that was
yeah.
I hadn't really seen it done like that, so that was really dope.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I think that's. I mean, I got that from reading a lot of Bell Hooks educational
Mm,
books,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he just talks about collaboration. It's just like, and then each class is different. It's just like I'm not about to. It's not about to be a dictatorship. You know, I have some tools, I have some things that
right.
I've learned through art, but I'm not going to tell you how to be an artist, or I can't do that. Like, but what I can do, like you said, just co-create the space, and we can create something together. It may flop, it may be dope, like we don't know, but like, but we're going to figure something out. So
Right.
yeah, I appreciate you bringing them down, man. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time.
Yeah,
So you do that thing, which is dope, but you also make some really, really great music. And I'm curious to know, in the hip hop world, a lot of people come up with all kinds of crazy names, and not just crazy names, but it's hip hop. Like everyone has a
yeah,
hip hop name, and
yeah.
Brandon Isaac sounds like your birth name. Is
That's my name.
that's your name?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
So
name. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm always curious when rappers use their birth name as their name. Was that like an intentional thing? Did you go through some rap names, nothing
Yeah.
stuck? Like, how did you fall on your actual name?
Last when I was 9, I was checks, like writing checks.
Oh, that was your rap name, Chex?
Yeah,
I thought you meant
checks.
the cereal. You remember the cereal
Yeah,
Chex?
I remember the cereal. Yeah, yeah. When I was 9, it was checks, and I had a rap group called the Money Boys. We still have some. We still have some songs on YouTube. Like it's just
That's
crazy.
awesome.
But
Heck yeah.
then it went to like I went through a stage where like in my earlier 20s I was the gifted nine, and still people locally still call me gifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then but then I just was like, you know, I don't know. I did a little stand up. I started off doing stand up when I was like 19. I remember after a show at the Funny Bone, I was a comedian. He came up to me and I told him what like a nickname I had for like my stage name. He was like, dude, he was like, people like that don't last. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, people who really like make a lasting impact. I mean, if you're gonna have a nickname, it better be great. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, you're right. I didn't want to be like Cool Bubba Ice or like, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be no weird shit. So I was just like, you know what? I like my name. I wanna, I feel like, my music is vulnerable, and I'm talking about my life experiences, and I just want to be myself. So I think I
Yeah.
just kind of went through that transition, and it's like, I'm just gonna be me. So I didn't want to be I didn't want to be a character, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you
I
know.
think
So
that's I think that's really dope. I am also intrigued by the story of names in hip hop.
yeah.
Through like I remember everyone was like a Bone. There's like T Bone or J
Oh
Bone.
yeah,
There's a Bone,
yeah.
and then there was like a Lil. Everyone was Lil. There was the
Lil,
the Izzle on the end of
yeah,
all the. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like the
yeah,
iteration
yeah,
of the different trends, I think
yeah,
is
yeah,
really is. I find it really interesting to
yeah.
me.
Young Jock,
Young,
Young
yes, lots of
Jeezy.
young. Yeah. And
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, I came up in the era where MC was in front of a lot
MC,
of rappers' names, so that
which I
was,
think is dope though. I like that. Like, you
yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah,
And I mean, there's names from each of those eras that stuck around. You know what I mean? So it's like it
yeah,
wasn't. I don't think it's necessarily in the name, but it's what's behind the name and like what you bring
absolutely.
and your
Yeah,
longevity and what you bring to it. So, but yeah, I
yeah,
love
for
that
real.
Eric Sermon, Keith Murray, Brandon
Yeah, man.
Isaac. I love
Yeah,
just the names you've been
just
giving
the
to us though.
names.
Just the
Yeah,
names. I
man.
love it. So,
Yeah, for
all right,
sure.
cool. So thinking about your work of, we're gonna have a theme here, a literary theme, that I can
Okay.
come back to a little bit. But if you think about your music career
Uh huh.
as like a book, what would
Yeah.
you say would be like the overarching theme of that book? What would be like that storyline of your music career as
A,
book
a,
form?
a actual book that I've read, or
You could take it that way. I meant more of like if someone was writing your
Oh,
music career as a book, they released it as a book. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
What would this like a story, like a a nonfiction, like a story?
Oh, oh,
What would be like the theme?
what would be the theme?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question. I've never heard that question. That's crazy. That's a good one, man. Wow. What would be the theme? I think that, I think that, just the theme that comes to me is always like, just kind of like that journey, like just the
Mm,
like the I don't know, like a poet's journey or a healing
mm,
journey or I just always appreciated stories like that,
yeah.
like books like the Celestine Prophecies and
Yeah.
the Alchemist, and whenever
Mm,
there's like a journey, whenever like somebody's like on a pilgrimage or this artistic spiritual walk and they're trying to find the treasure or the wisdom or whatever, like you know what I mean, like
yeah.
I feel like that's like kind of like what my music has been, just from like collaborating with different artists and just trying to find my sound and messing around with things and then finding like my voice, and then like, oh, okay, well, I don't really like drums, and then I met Free Mind, and then he was like, bro, you sound great on drums, and then I hear drums, and I'm like, oh, I hear his drums, I'm like, oh man, I love those drums. So
Yeah.
just going through the ups and downs of just like the journey, and while on the journey, like just discovering like, you know and discovery too, and like
Mm,
discovering like, hey man, I don't want to be a this, I
yeah.
don't want to be a that. I don't, whatever
Right.
that is. But through this process, like I found more of who I am and like what my true values are. I kind of like found myself in art. So I would just say more
Mm,
so discovery,
yeah.
and just a journey, just a healer's journey, going on like different healing journeys, learning myself and healing inside out, and things coming out when I write. I'm like, holy shit, I feel this way.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so yeah, if that answers your question, I know it's
Yeah, man.
scattered.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, we're just trying to get into the mind of Brandon Isaac, get to know you better. So
Scattered.
scattered. Would you say? I think what I'm hearing is like life is not about some sort of in destination. But it's
Yeah.
more about being present and learning and
Mhm.
growing.
Mhm.
In the adventure of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, man. That's what the whole book, The Alchemist, is about. Like, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Just about going on that journey, man. He was like, he tried. Santiago was trying to, reach this end goal, but like the best parts were like, him meeting, the crystal merchant and the gypsy, and then Fatima, and just meeting these people on his journey, and like this was like the most important pieces, like, and this was what was that was the dream,
mm,
like that is it. It's not
yeah.
this thing, like, oh, I want to be a that. Okay, well, when you're that, it's going to be something else. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
never ending. If you just want to be a that, you're gonna miss all this. It's like when
Mm.
Bruce Lee slapped dude on the Enter the Dragon. He's like, you're gonna miss all the heavenly glory. You know what I mean? It's like you have to pay attention to that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
being present, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Returning to this literary idea, like we
Hmm.
got this book, all right, this book about Brandon Isaac's
Okay.
musical journey.
Okay.
Uh, what like what role would Cincinnati play in that story? What would that character look like? What would Cincinnati offer? Like,
If
tell me
if
about
Cincinnati
Cincinnati.
was a character,
Yeah, let's go that way. If Cincinnati was a character, what kind of character would that be? A sporting cast filled with
um,
someone challenge it? Like, what would it be?
oh man, if Cincinnati, the first thing that comes to my mind, if Cincinnati was a character, Cincinnati would be somebody that I'm in a romantic relationship with,
Mm.
that I break up with over the years, and then I leave, and
Uh-huh.
then I always come back to her, and she always takes me back.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. So I'm real curious about this. What would make you break up with Cincinnati, or what did make you break up with Cincinnati?
well, in the past, like in my earlier 20s, like I was really heavy into stand-up comedy, and I
Oh,
got really
word.
cocky here for a minute. Like I was down at the I was like 19, 21, and I was like, yeah, like 19, between 19 and 21, 22, that range. And I was like
Hmm.
it was when the Newport Funny Bone was there, and I
Yeah.
had got like I started to understand joke writing, and I was like
Uh-huh.
making like big crowds laugh, and I was just like, oh man, like Cincinnati's small. I need to go somewhere like Atlanta or
Mm-hmm.
LA or Chicago or something to really be a big time comic. Like, you know what I mean? So I
Right.
left because I'm like, she's too little, she's too small for me. I need something more,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
I left. And then I quickly discovered like that big city life wasn't wasn't me. Like that's not
Yeah.
what I wanted. And
Right.
so I left, and oh, Jessica tapped in. Shout out to Jessica.
Yeah.
Um,
There you go.
but yeah, man. So I left, and then I came back, and then I was like, oh man, I really need her, like and
Yeah.
she grounded me in like so many ways, and helped me get closer to my family, showed me my values, and um, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things, and I've been with her ever since. And I left her again at one point, and then I came back to her again. She's always here for me, like
Always.
she's always
Yeah.
here. So I would say it's just an on and off relationship with Cincinnati, and I'm learning to value her more. Like, and I think that's in all my relationships. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to love the people that love me. You
Mm.
know? Yeah,
That's a man. That is. I love that. I love that because
yeah,
being involved in a lot of like religious circles and doing a lot of interfaith work,
mhm,
you learn different creeds and different doctrines and whatnot. But for me, I
mhm,
found that to be loved and to love others is like
mhm.
the is very meaningful, and like to acknowledge like I'm trying to love the people that love me, I think is a
Yeah,
really beautiful thing. It's
yeah.
growth. That's where growth happens, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because we're always chasing a bigger thing. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, this, a bigger this, or this, or
Right.
this. Like, no, like, but this person is trying to love you. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? This city is trying to give you something, and you're like, no, it's too small. And it's like, no, like, use it. Like,
Yeah.
get alchemical with it. But it's
Yeah.
it's not easy. It takes a lot of maturity. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, before we jump into the new album, because I definitely want to chat about that a little bit. Want to do a little this or that
Okay.
with you, a little fun. So just gonna go
Okay.
through a few things just to know, get to know Brandon Isaac a little bit more. So all
All
right,
right, man. Let's do it.
you're sitting down, you're grabbing a book. Are you going for fiction or nonfiction? Are you more of a fiction guy or nonfiction?
In this space right now, fiction.
Fiction. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right now, fiction.
Right
Just
now,
right now. Just
got you.
right
So
now. Yeah.
so it changes.
Yeah. Changes.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
changes.
I got
Yeah.
that. I feel that. Okay. All right.
Hmm.
I know you work with young people.
Hmm.
So going with the theme right now, would you rather work with middle school kids right now or high school?
I'm working with middle school kids right now.
So maybe you'd
uh,
rather work at high school.
yeah. Yeah. I prefer older kids, but if any of my students are watching, I hope not. But if they are, hey, high school, but middle school's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cool, cool. All right, going to the music world. All right, you gonna throw in some Nas or Common?
Ooh. Common.
Common. Yeah.
Yeah. Common.
Did you see
Common
him?
touches. I didn't
Oh,
when he came. I was so angry, and my friend sent me pictures, and he was like, "Bro, he did everything you could think of." Like I was just like, "Oh, I hate that. Like I hate that
yeah.
I missed that." Did you get to see him?
I didn't see him this time. I saw him the first time he came with
Okay.
the pops or whatever, the Philharmonic, the
Huh?
symphony, and I saw him just live like as an MC, not with the symphony.
Ah,
But
man, I gotta see him, man.
have you seen him live before?
I haven't, man. I gotta see
Man,
him. I gotta see him, man. But
he
definitely,
he he is such a like he's like nonstop energy the whole time. Like any other rapper that performs like him they're gonna lose their breath. But
yeah,
like his
yeah.
breath control is impeccable, and he's dancing like he's moving. It's just like
Yeah,
energy.
yeah,
It's
yeah. And I heard
amazing.
he's a really good break dancer. Like he
Yeah,
can
he
like
break
break dance.
dances.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like oh man, Common's
he is a
dope. Yeah, it's
he's a
probably my
showman.
favorite MC.
Yeah, he's
Probably.
up there he's top five, and one of
Yeah,
my top five favorites
for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
For
and
sure.
he's got Cincinnati roots.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
with the
Yeah,
Bond. Shout
yeah.
out to the Bond Hill crew, and
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
inspired him. Okay, all right. Moving on the music thing, we got all right. Your next album, we
Uh-huh.
just got a crazy advance of money to
Uh-huh.
work with one of two producers. All right,
Okay.
you can either work with Madlib or DJ Premier. to produce your entire album? Who are you gonna go with?
Ooh,
Who are you picking?
ooh. I feel like, all right, this is how I'm gonna break this down. I feel like Madlib. I feel like Madlib is like more reserved. So I feel
Mm.
like he's gonna be around, but he's just gonna give me a pack of beats. He's not gonna really produce the album.
Uh,
He's gonna give me like a pack of beats, which I would love. So it just
yeah.
depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. But if I want to be produced, if I want somebody to produce me, like actually produce the album and like actually like talk about the album and we talk about it together, I think I probably go with Premiere because
Okay.
we're gonna talk about it more. I think
Yeah.
Madlib is like from his interviews and just like understand he's like, man, I just want to make music. Like he's
Right.
just a little more reserved, but yeah, maybe Premiere because
Okay.
he's gonna produce the album. He's gonna be
Okay.
hands on. He's gonna have his hands in. But Madlib, that's tough, man. Because
Yeah.
I would love some Madlib beats right
Heck
now.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both phenomenal producers. All right.
absolutely.
So now you got your DJ Premier album. All right, he
Hmm.
produced an album for you. It's really dope. So
Okay.
you're gonna go out on the road and you're gonna do shows.
Uh-huh.
Would you what and you're gonna do all kinds of shows, but what would you prefer? What's your preference? Big audiences, sold out arenas, or someone's living room with like
Someone's
10
living room.
people?
And
Yeah.
intimate. I mean, even if we can fit 100 people in those living rooms, like you know what I mean. Like the sold out arena is just like the people are just too far from you.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. I just like when people are like when the crowd's like really intimate and it's
Yeah.
like the place is small and it's only 250 people in there, but it feels like it's packed, like it's a million
Yeah.
people in there. I like that vibe. Yeah,
I do too, man. I
yeah, it's
thought that
better.
I figured that's what you were gonna say, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
warm. It's
Yeah.
warm.
All right.
Yeah.
So before you go do your DJ Premier album
Okay.
and go on tour all across the world, you got another album out right now. Just came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
The North Star, Love of the Art,
Uh-huh.
you on the rhymes, Free Mind on the beats.
Hmm.
Um, how's it been going?
Um,
How's the reception?
it's been good, man. It's like I've been getting a lot of like quality love,
Mm,
if that makes any sense. Like it's not like usually like if I do something, like people will say like, oh bro, that was dope or that was fire. Like I've been getting like more so like just inboxes and like messages from just different parts of the world too. Like
mm.
people like some guy reached out from Paris and was
Oh
just like,
wow.
bro, it was like, bro, this is dope. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I appreciate this and I appreciate what you're talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just thought that was dope. Like, you know, it's more of the quality of love and the
Mm-hmm.
impact. I think it kind of I don't know, I just like how it's resonating. Of course, you know, it's not streaming like a new Kendrick album or nothing like that, but you know,
Right.
but it's you know, it's the love is there and the support is there and I've been getting a lot of good feedback from it. So I'm proud of it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
man. Should be. It's
Mhm.
really good. And you said something earlier
Mhm.
about you weren't really on drums, and
Yeah.
then this album. I mean, this is a boom bap,
Yeah.
drum heavy album.
Mhm.
So I'd love to know more about that. Like, a lot of cats that grew up in hip hop, like drum, like this is
Yeah.
more of a new phenomenon. Most people, prefer drums for
Yeah.
a long time. Most people still do today, I would say.
Yeah.
So, have you always been like that? And if not, like what got you on to that more, less is more, drum kick?
Um well some of my favorite a few reasons. Some of my favorite songs growing up were like songs that didn't have drums in them. Like one of my favorite Nas songs is Queens Get the Money. Like, and
Mm,
it's off the nigga album, and
yeah, yeah.
it's like
That's first joint.
your first joint, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, when I first heard that, I was just like, oh my god, and I'm just like, yo, like that's how I want a whole album to sound.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I love that, and then I just grew up listening to a lot of like different types of music. Like my stepfather, shout out to my stepfather. Like he was just play all types of stuff. So I
yeah,
just was always like listening to all different types of music, and I just think I just more so just got caught up in um, how things make me feel,
yeah.
and I don't know. I just would battle. I just didn't like the drums were just too much for me,
Yeah,
and maybe I
yeah.
just didn't hear the right drums. And then as an MC, I just felt like I was always fighting them, and
Mm,
I just felt like they were just when people would send me stuff with drums in them, it was like too busy, and I hate busy beats. Like,
yeah.
it's just like, bro, it's just like you got like this hi hat in here that's like you got all these I'm like, bro, I can't hear myself on this. Like,
Yeah,
and then I met Free, and Free was like that first person that was like, bro, like you would sound dope on drums. He said people are just not giving you space. He
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
you just need space. And when he like when I started hearing his stuff, I'm just like, oh wow.
yeah,
And yeah, so I just think it was just a battle, and it's just
yeah,
not really finding the right sound. And but once I found it with Free, it made sense to me.
yeah,
But I just like all types of music, and I just think I just envision me just being a spoken word artist over jazzy beats and with no
yeah.
drums. You know what I mean? But it just turned into something different. So now I love them. Now I'm like, I
Yeah.
need some drums.
You need
You know what I
drums.
mean? Yeah, I need them. So
That's dope. Well, they're definitely on this album. If you're tuning in, we're talking about the North Star, Love of the Art by Brandon Isaac and Free Mind. If you've not heard it, go find it, listen to it. You're gonna like it. Go buy it off the Bandcamp. Support the artist tonight and Free Mind. And not only does it have more drums, it has, I don't know if I would say more words, but like your style of delivery is pretty unique. I think there's a few other artists that have a similar style, but very few,
mm,
because some cats get too wordy, and it's like
mhm,
they're trying to fit like all these words into the bar and like just trying to overdo it.
mhm.
I feel like with you, it's like, man, I got a lot of words. I'm not going to try to fit them into the bar. I'm just going to let them flow, you know? And you just kind of got this like rapid fire, but like you just kind of let them go type delivery that I think is really unique. And I'm wondering, had you always had that delivery? Do you think that's a fair assessment of your
Yeah,
delivery?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
where did that style come from?
Um, honestly, it came from, well, for starters, it came from a lack of artist development. Like,
Mm.
I didn't really have anybody to really sit down with me to like be like, hey, this is how you structure a song, or
Yeah,
this is a chorus, this is a 16, this is how I know understand that now, but
right.
nobody really ever sat down and told me how to structure a song out. I never had a songwriting class, and I've just always been a writer, and um I just wanted to I just when I started making music, I was just like, man, what would I want to hear like from my favorite artists? Like, what would I want them to do? And like,
Mm.
if Andre 3000 came out with an album right now where he just rapped like poems over beats and just went from song to song, I would listen. I would love that. Like,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
love that. And so I think it was just a little bit of that, and just not. I just don't care. Like, I'm just doing what I feel. You know what I mean? And um, I'm not trying to make a catchy hook or anything. And I started off as like a spoken word artist, so I was just writing a lot of poetry, and it just so happened to go into the beat. So I just kind of started that, and then it became a habit. And
yeah,
then, and once the habit, I just like, well, I'm gonna try to master this habit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to perfect, what I'm doing. It may be unorthodox, it may be different, but I'm gonna try to master my thing. And I will get feedback from people like, hey man, that's different. And I'm like, oh, it is? Okay, well, let me keep that. And
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I didn't want to be like anybody else. So once somebody told me it was different, I took that and ran with it. So I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that just kind of just happen. Like, and I just do it. If
yeah.
now if I hear a beat and I'm like, oh man, this needs a hook, and I feel it, and then I'll do that. I think ultimately I'm
Right.
just doing what the beat's telling me to do. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You know.
I love that. I love that it wasn't a situation where like you were brought up like, like a trained, lyricist that you just let yourself you just expressed yourself,
Yeah.
and it just kind
Yeah.
of came. It's organic. It's very
Yeah.
organic, you know.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And I think that's dope. So that's
Yeah.
a true artist right there, I think. So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. So one last question about this
Hmm.
album, The North Star, or actually two more questions. Love of the
Hmm.
art. First, The North Star. The I believe so. That's not a group. Is that a group name?
It's a group name.
It
Yeah.
is a group name. Okay, all right.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Uh-huh.
you and Free Mind.
Me and Free Mind. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, cool. And so the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first North Star album
Uh,
was paying homage to Black Star, to
Black
Lil
Star,
Wayne,
yeah.
Mos Def. Yeah.
Hmm.
Was that your thought process behind coming up with that name?
Um, me and Free kind of like actually, man. Me and Free met on. Shout out to Free Mind, man. He's a great guy. It's like my best friend. But
Nice.
man, we were just on. We met through IG, and
Mm,
he was in LA. He lives here in Cincinnati now, which is crazy to me.
that's dope.
Um, and yeah, we were just on Facetime one day. He was like, "Bro, we should call ourselves the North Star." I'm like, why? He said, man, he said, bro, because it's like you delivering the news and like, and Free Minds like deep into Black consciousness. And we were talking about the Frederick Douglass newspaper. And
Right.
then, you know what I mean? Like, just call it the North Star. And we were like, oh, I'm like, oh man, that'd be dope. You know what I mean? And then we were like, man, and we're also paying homage to Tyler Kweli and Mos Def. And I'm like, oh yeah. So it was a lot of that stuff is Freeze Vision. Like, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Even
Yeah.
even with the album cover, like that's all him. Like, even when it comes to the concepts of the songs, like I may have named one of the songs, but he
Hmm.
like throws me writing prompts and stuff. Like, dude is like that's all in his brain. Like he comes up with a lot of stuff, and he's just a producer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's a lot of his stuff, and I was just like, oh man, like
Yeah.
yeah, bro, that's a good idea. Let's
Right.
roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's dope.
yeah,
That's super dope. Shout out to Fremont. He did his thing
absolutely,
on
absolutely.
this album. And so
Hmm.
finally, last question I have about this album, and it's kind of you can take it either way in
Hmm.
two different directions. When someone listens to this album, they sit down, they listen to the entire project. What do you think they're going to walk away with, or what would you like them to walk away with from that experience?
Um. Hmm. I guess I would want them to walk away with, um, I guess the feeling of man, like that person was vulnerable,
Mm,
and it's okay to be vulnerable.
yeah.
Um, it's okay to be honest about where I'm at in this moment in time. Um, I don't have to, I don't have to be anything that I'm not, and I can strictly approach this my process for the love of the art, like
Yeah.
I think just the courage to have humility in situations, and to understand that you're not perfect, and admit when you're wrong, and to try to do everything you can to crush your ego, and
Mm,
um, a bunch of different things. But I would just
yeah.
say the biggest takeaway is definitely just like just vulnerability. Like, man, that person was vulnerable, and I think vulnerability can be my superpower too. I'm gonna try to
Mm,
find ways to be more vulnerable in my life.
yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
dope. I love
yeah,
that, man. That's great.
yeah.
Dope,
Appreciate it,
dope.
man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being vulnerable, opening up
yeah,
like that. I think
yeah,
that's a
man.
beautiful thing.
It's too many dickheads in this world, man. So it's like now as well, we gotta have some vulnerable people, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it helps, man. It
it does.
helps. You
Yeah,
bottle that stuff up inside,
yeah,
and sometimes it doesn't end well.
absolutely,
You gotta let
hundred
it
percent,
out.
100%.
Um, before we get into celebrating some artists and albums I know have inspired you,
Hmm.
is there? And I know the album. It's on there on the screen if you're watching. The North Star, Love of the Art.
Hmm.
I know you want to keep pushing that and
Hmm.
want people to listen and check it out. Is there anything else that you're working on creatively that you want people to know about outside
Man,
of this album?
man, these kids, man. Like, you know what I mean? Just I'm trying to. Right now, I'm just in the process of. We have a Wordplay has a writers room at Aiken High School, and
Mm.
it was like dedicated to like creative writing, but now it's like I'm trying to redesign it and turn it into like a mental health space for the kids. Like, so when they come out of
Uh,
class, they can go into like a place where there's bean bags and essential oil diffusers, and they can paint and relax and podcast or just take a nap.
yeah.
So I think that has a lot of my creative power. Like, right now, as far as music goes, man, music is like one of those things. It's like I hear some guys like they're like, man, I'm always sharpening my sword, man. You know what I mean? With me, how I get better at music is just stepping away from it, man. I have to get
Mm,
away. I have to get
yeah.
away from it, man. So, I've made a lot of music, man, lately, and I just want to. It's just like, and then things will get pent up again, and then the bug will bite me, and I'll get out there again. But right now, I don't. I I got real life adult stuff I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to get out of my dad's house, trying to get an apartment, trying to save up my money, and so man, stuff
Yeah.
like that, man. So yeah, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, while you're getting all that together, again,
Mhm.
make sure you go listen to the album. It's the North Star Love of the Art. You can find it on their Bandcamp page. You can also find it streaming just about anywhere. And sounds like Brandon Isaac might come to your living room and put on a show for you right then and there and perform it for you. So there's that
For
option
sure.
too. Make sure you,
Word.
however you get it, get the album. It's dope. So make sure you get that.
Appreciate it, man.
Um,
And I still
yeah.
need to check your work, man. I've been hearing great things
Oh,
about
word.
your album. I've been hearing.
Yeah.
I'm
All
like, so
right.
I need to check it, man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be.
man.
I'm gonna let you know when I listen to it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna probably try to check it this weekend. I want to listen to it. I want to sit down and absorb it.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing great things about your
Oh
album, my
man.
friend.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great to hear. I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm
yeah,
glad.
for sure, for sure.
And it's interesting because AC the entity. I don't know if you know AC.
Mhm.
He's here in Cincinnati, but he
Uh,
has a similar story lyrically because he didn't really come up like trained. Like he told me one day. I think it was an interview we did actually. He was like, I don't even really know how to write a bar. I was like, what? Really? It's like, nah, I
yeah,
just write and I just
that's
go
right.
with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense when you hear his music. Like it's like, yeah, it makes sense when he
Mm-hmm.
says that. Like his words just kind of meander around the beat, and the
Mm-hmm.
rhyme just kind of finds itself. It's cool. It's really different, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really dope too. So, but I
Nice.
feel like y'all have that common thing of just like letting your art flow and not being, you know,
Yeah,
technical with it.
yeah,
Being more
absolutely.
artistic with it. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely,
So
100%, 100%. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
yeah, man,
And
I can't
yeah,
wait to see what you think.
yeah,
So.
yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
So I want to play a little game with you. We call one word here on the
Okay.
Boom Bap Chat. I will show you an album cover, and yeah, you just give us one word that describes what you think about the album or describes your experience with this album. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First one is "Life Is Good" by Nas. Since he's got an album coming out next Friday, I think it is. We're gonna start with Nas. Life is good.
Just one word.
One word. If you can do it.
My favorite song on there, "Stay."
Oh, I need you to stay.
Stay. Oh my God. Watch out for desperate, lonely women. Hurt your happy home. Miserable and alone. Kissable, nice to bone. Oh my God. I love that album.
Yeah.
Love
That's
that album.
that song and it's the
Oh,
jazziness and the beat, man.
oh my
That's
God.
that's a dope
Yeah.
joint.
That's,
All
that's
right.
my favorite Nas album.
Oh, that's your favorite Nas album.
Not,
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it's the best, but just say it's my favorite.
Your favorite.
My
What
favorite.
did you think about his King's
The,
Disease and Magic albums? Have you heard those?
I like those. I
Yeah.
do. I mean they're not as, of course they're not as soulful to me as like the earlier ones. Like I
Yeah.
like them. I think it's great music, and I love how Nas sounds. Like I love what Hit Boy and Nas are doing. I think it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't move me internally how the
How
earlier work did. I think that's
right.
more of a nostalgic thing,
Yeah,
maybe.
totally. But
Yeah.
but that stay touched a lot of people, like Ian Charles. Shout out to Ian Charles. And hey, Ian, glad you're doing better, man.
Yes, bro. Yes, man.
Keep praying for you to have a very healthy recovery, for
Absolutely.
sure. But yeah, stay is special, is what
It
Ian
is, man.
says.
It is
That
special.
is that's one of those songs. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
dope. All right, next album. Oh man, I'm so glad this album inspires you, man. I think it does at least. This is Collage by
Oh,
Bahamadia.
oh, what can I say about that album? I mean, un- underrated. Yeah, underrated. You know, underrated. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, cause it's just nobody talks about Bahamadia. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? They just don't. I mean, like, I mean, you get your Lauren. People talk about your Lauren Hills, and I'm like, yo, that right there, like, man, like, if you look up, like, to me personally, if you look up MC, like, if you're talking about not just, I mean, I'm not trying to make it about sex right now, but like, if you're talking about a female MC, her is like she defines it all. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I just love everything about that album. Like, I just love the feel of that album.
I do
Like, it's
too.
yeah, it's special, man. The album
Yeah,
inspires me. She's dope.
she is dope, and people love that album. That album has
Yeah,
like a cult following, even though
yeah,
it doesn't. We might feel like it doesn't get talked about a lot. When it
yeah,
pops up, people do like
yeah.
let it be known that they really love that album.
Oh
So
yeah, oh
that's a
yeah.
great album.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of great albums, cult classic. I think this is a
Uh-huh.
cult classic. This is Mad Villain right
Oh, that
here.
come on, man. Yeah, Rhinestone Cowboy.
Doom
Uh,
and Mad Lib,
yeah, man.
all caps.
All caps. I mean, that's just. I mean, and thing about Doom is, one thing where it comes to me is conceptual. Like,
Mm,
Doom was like a masterful with, dudes like, man, like Free talks about this a lot, how people just slap words together, like just be
mm,
rapping, just putting words. Like, Doom always stayed on the concept. Like,
yeah,
what I mean? He's a conceptual monster, you know. So
yeah,
rest in peace to Doom, man.
definitely, man. He was
Yeah,
so ill. Speaking
absolutely.
of so ill, this is also one of my favorite MCs of all time.
Okay.
This album is dope. MC is incredible. This is Lead Poison
Oh,
by Elzai.
I mean, Elzot. I mean, I guess Alien. Like, you know what I'm
Alien,
saying?
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, he's otherworldly to me. Like, I drove up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to go see him perform a few months back, and it just amazed me. Like, when he did 216s,
Mm,
and I'm just looking at this, I'm just like, and it's probably about 15 people in the crowd. I'm just like, why is this not packed? Like, why is this not sold out? Like, and it's just L's out there rocking. Like,
yeah, man.
oh
He's
my
so
God,
good.
he's good,
He,
man.
he's so
He's
good.
phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal. He's been on a hell of a journey. Like, if you really think about just
Yeah,
his body of work as a whole, just from Slum Village to now,
yeah.
like, yo, I mean, dude is crazy. Alien is
It
the perfect word for Elza.
it is. It really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like Elzai now that he's put out he went in several years where he didn't put out a lot of music.
Hmm.
But now he's
Yeah.
put out a pretty good amount of music in the last
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 years, but pretty much like an album every year.
Yeah.
And they're all to me, they're all super dope. Like each
Yeah,
one,
man.
and his
Oh
work
yeah.
with Slum Village was dope, like you're saying. So like
Yeah.
a few more dope albums under his belt, and I'm ready to say he is in the running for greatest lyricist of all time.
Oh, of all time,
He
no
of
doubt.
all time, yeah.
Of no doubt.
Because when
No
you're talking
doubt.
about lyricism, like who
Oh
can
yeah.
touch him? Like
No
he puts
nobody.
words together,
Oh
amazing,
man. He's amazing.
amazing.
Jericho Jackson, it may be like
Oh,
my
amazing.
second favorite album after Lead Poison. Like, Jericho Jackson.
Yeah.
That
That
just came out on vinyl too. I need it.
oh word, that's
Yeah.
dope. I
Hmm.
think I think Jericho Jackson might be my favorite album of
Yeah,
his. But
Jericho. Yeah.
his I forget his first one, the solo joint with Black
Uh,
Milk. I forget the name of that
the
one.
preface.
The Preface.
Hmm.
Yeah. The joint on there where he makes you guess what's the end of the word or the end of the line. Like he's so creative, man. And the joint on here where he's trapped inside of a speaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
amazing. And the
It,
vampire joint,
yeah,
God,
man.
he is just
His
like
concepts, man.
there are MCs that can put words together like no other. Like Eminem, like
Yeah.
he's a wordsmith. Pharaoh
Hmm.
Monch
Hmm.
is I think on like a similar level as Elzai, but like I can't think of anyone else that's as gifted lyrically, but can also tell a story in that lyrical. You know what I mean? Like that's really hard to do in music.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing,
He's amazing, man. He just
amazing.
has it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
All
he
right.
got the crowd rocking too.
Yes. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
dope, dope. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of someone that's a lyricist with a smooth delivery, we got two more. We're going back with this one. This is Do or Die by AZ.
And
One
we was
word.
already molded in people's minds as Mulianis. Now we more fucked up. With a mayor named Giuliani, you could try to blind me, analyze but can't define me. My mind's divine, heavily entwined with Gandhi. Rather unique. That's what comes.
Yeah.
Rather unique.
Rather unique. He
Rather
was
unique.
so smooth on this album, man.
Hmm.
Just like
Yeah.
water. Just, man.
Oh man, AZ's the goat. One of the goats. Yeah.
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 Definitely,
For
definitely. All
sure.
right, we got one more.
Uh-huh.
And I think this one holds a special place in your heart. We'll see. This is Orpheus versus the
Oh
Sirens
man.
by Ka
Man.
out of Brownsville, New York. Ka, the lyricist, one word for this joint, the Hermit and the Recluse. He's got lots of names.
I don't even know what to even. I, John. I don't even know if you Ka is his own genre. Like, you know what I mean? Ka is his
Yeah.
own thing. So I don't know. I'll call Ka that I'll just call I don't know. Shit. I don't know. Saturn. Shit.
What'd
I
you
mean
say?
Saturn. I'll call
Saturn.
him.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about planet. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just his own planet.
Yeah.
And he said, what's I forget what song is my favorite. I think it's Argo. The song Argo. That's what comes to mind. Argo, where he says
Okay.
something like he says something like he says he said something because I rhyme from my cardiac. I said, oh my god. I was like, just the stuff he just comes up with. I mean, yeah, I love Ka.
I love
Yeah,
Ka too. Ka,
yeah,
because I love drums. Like I love
yes.
like boom
Hmm.
bap drum. But Ka gives me my
Yes.
my drumless. Like that's who
Yes.
I go to for that
Oh
more
yeah.
drumless. Is Ka, because
I'm not mad at you for that.
he does it so well in my
Yeah,
opinion. But
yeah.
and the joint, man, my joint from Ka is this joint. I gotta show this joint, man. See your thoughts on this. Is the Night's
Oh,
Gambit
nice gambit.
by
Oh
Ka.
yeah, yeah. I love that project too. I love
Yeah,
all his projects. I love
yeah,
all his
yeah.
projects. Probably my
It's
second
good.
favorite one after Orpheus versus the Sirens.
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm having a nerd moment. It's Doctor Yinlo.
I knew it.
Doc,
I already knew you were gonna say
Doctor Yinlo.
it.
Doctor Yinlo. Yeah,
That's a dope joint. Although
yeah,
I wish they had different titles for those names, man. It's like
yeah, yeah,
it's like day 10 and then day 8,
yeah,
11,
yeah,
day
yeah, yeah.
6. Like I can't remember these titles, but
I know,
anyway,
man. Yeah, man.
Kai's dope. Kai is such a
Yes,
gifted lyricist,
man.
gifted
Yeah.
artist. So
Yeah, I love where hip hop is headed at, man. With just like a lot of just the fact that artists like Ka or even though Elzai's been in the game for a minute, but like Elzai and Rock Marcy and these underground cats, man, they have the luxury to have like platforms to
yeah,
share, and they don't have to just go through the label anymore. Like they have the freedom and they can build their own like following, and I just think that's so dope. And it feeds people like me and you who still appreciate the
yeah,
culture and want to hear good music. And we don't only
yeah,
have to be confined to just whatever that is. You know what I
right.
mean? The radio stuff. So it's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that, man. Some
Hmm.
amazing music coming out
Hmm.
for sure. Make sure I've said it many times. Make sure you go check out the amazing album that Brandon Isaac made called The North Star, Love of the Art.
Hmm.
Support that. Head up the Bandcamp page and buy it. And if you
Hmm.
can't do that, at least go listen to it and share it out to your friends. Let people know it's out there. It's a really dope work of art.
Yeah, for
My
sure.
man, the final thing we always do in the Boom Bap chat is give shout outs. So if you're cool, I will give a few shout outs and then I'll throw it to you for our final shout
Okay.
outs of the night. Sound good?
Word. Cool
All
with
right,
me,
word,
man.
word. I want to shout out definitely everyone that tuned in tonight. Don was tuning in earlier. Appreciate it. Jessica, appreciate you tuning in. Kane, tuning in. Ian Charles, we shouted him out. Appreciate you tuning in. And to the crew, my crew, man, Bo Brown, Joe, November, Big Stowe, Profound, and Iomas Mirage. Shout out to you always. Shout out to my man Dante from Mood. We are trying to get Dante on the program. And if it works out scheduling wise, he'll be on in 2 weeks. So we're gonna try to make
Nice,
that work. If not, we'll
nice.
try to reschedule and get him on here. Shout out to Cincinnati hip hop. I moved here like almost 20 years ago or so, and this is feels like home now. And man, this scene, the Cincinnati scene, I feel it is one of the best around. There there's just so much. So the talent here is amazing. There's so much great talent here. And the thing I love about the scene here, so many people here are not just making great music, but they're working towards great causes, like Brandon Isaac and several others. And so they make dope music, they do dope things with their life to make life better, not just for themselves, but for their communities and their neighborhoods and their Cincinnati. So I appreciate about that scene here. I appreciate that about you, which is the final shout out for me, man. I appreciate you being here tonight.
Man, I appreciate
Appreciate
that,
your
man.
music, and most importantly, I appreciate what you do, in the community and empowering the young people. So shout out to you. And with that, you can have the final shout outs of the night.
Oh man, whoo man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for all that love, man. Well, first off, where are you from? You said you moved here 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm from Evansville, Indiana, originally.
Oh, word. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
for those
Cool,
for
cool.
those that don't know, it's southern Indiana. So if you got on the Ohio River from Cincinnati and just kept on going down,
Oh
you hit
man, that's
Evansville.
dope.
So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's dope. Oh, that's what's up, man. Well, yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. You know what I mean? Jessica, Ian, everybody, man. Like, I appreciate you guys tapping in. Um, shout out to Free Mind. You know what I mean, for helping me, man, just find my sound and my voice and laying out the canvas for me.
yeah.
Uh, man, just shout out to everybody that continues to support the work, and you know what I mean. Just I appreciate it, man, and and just to help us like artists keep going, and just shout out to everybody who just supports underground hip hop. Um, yeah, man. Shout out to my family and kids I work with. They may never see this. They may. Uh, but yeah, yeah. Just shout out to just good energy and shout out to all the higher forces and energies around us. So yeah, that's all I got. Yeah.
Right on, right on. Shout
Mhm.
out to Hector who just joined in. And on that note, we
Mhm.
say peace.